has been more consistent than before.
All right, what's going on, family? Man, we popping back in, man. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We're in a different little bit of location. We're in a different machine right now, but we gonna keep it pushing, man. So, Hightower, basically, you were going a little bit to where we were saying how Stefanski, you're believing could probably push for Coach of the Year again here in Atlanta and start off where you left off, basically, right?
I do. I think that with the potential of that the Falcons already have in regards to how dangerous their defense is and effective, and if they can get the offense healthy, get Penix back on board, and just really open up the offense with that wide zone idea, I think that if they can achieve 10 wins at least, which is more than doable for them. That you're going to win Coach of the Year again. I mean, if you can pull it off, because if you look at the way things look from a fan's standpoint, you're waiting for him to fail on one side, and on the other side, you're saying, "I wonder who this guy really is," because a lot of people don't even know who he is.
Right.
Because Cleveland's whole thing is, if it wasn't for the Shedeur Sanders thing, a lot of people wouldn't have paid attention to Cleveland. So
absolutely,
it opens the door to people getting to know who he is.
Absolutely, and I think that's a really good point, because a lot of people talk about, again, to your point, the NFL kind of collectively, and I think some of the owners might have had a little bit of trying to sabotage Shedeur a little bit, but to me, not Stefanski. And he didn't want Shedeur to begin with, but if he wasn't Shedeur Sanders, we'd be possibly talking about him in the same breath as a Desmond Ridder before. We're talking about a guy who was drafted in the 5th round, not even a 3rd round caliber player. And I even saw something where Cam Newton, and all salute to him as a great athlete, but he was saying Stefanski never developed any quarterbacks in Cleveland. And I kind of disagree. I think that he developed Baker Mayfield. He was the first coach to ever get something out of Baker Mayfield. He was the first coach to help Baker Mayfield turn down on the interceptions. And if it hadn't been for Deshaun Watson and the owner stubbornly going after Deshaun Watson, which again Stefanski was never on board with, I think he probably would have kept Baker Mayfield up there and been able to kind of get him going along. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying he would have tried to keep him. He would have tried to keep him there.
Yeah, and I think that it was again, I think that shows a little bit of his development. You go and you look at somebody like Case Keenum. He took Case Keenum and he took that team to the playoffs in Minnesota as the offensive coordinator. Even took Joe Flacco to the playoffs. So I think that he actually can develop a quarterback, or at least and at this level is saving the quarterback from himself.
He's not developing quarterbacks so that they end up being all pros. He's making quarterbacks that people have questions about. He's making them viable, and he's making them reliable. But the thing is this: in regards to Shedeur, we don't know if Stefanski didn't want him because he saw something from the ownership level, that he said, I don't want to have anything to do with that. We don't know if there was some type of other stuff going on behind the scenes that he was privy to, that he just didn't have the patience for. We have no idea. I don't think that he just personally didn't like Shedeur. Right. I think there's more going on in the organization. The organization, I mean by the NFL, not just by the Cleveland, that they were hating on him. You know what I'm saying? There's something else going on that I don't know yet. But the thing is even if he's not great at developing quarterbacks,
right,
he is very gifted at developing offenses. So regardless if it's just the quarterback himself or if it's the team effort of the entire offense coming together, I think that they're in a better position right now based off of experience in the past than they were this season.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he has a better offensive unit and more talent here in Atlanta than he ever had up there in Cleveland. And
I mean, now mind you, Cleveland had a couple good. They had some. You know what? Let me just start over. If you look at Cleveland the last 5 years, okay, let's just do that, and you look at about 5 years ago, they were really looked at as being the next big thing. They came into the league, you had Chubb and you had all this stuff going on 5 years ago, and they were like, yo, this is going to be great. And they just couldn't stay healthy. But they showed that they could play. So the thing is that if you look at it, it's very similar. They had a running back that could run, they had a tight end that could do his thing, and they had receivers that couldn't stay healthy. Sounds a lot like the Falcons.
absolutely.
So if you are somebody on the outside looking in like an owner, and you're saying, I wonder if this guy fits, you almost saw a mirror image offensively of what he did in the past for what he could bring now. So it's kind of right. It's kind of nice to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, man. They also talk a bit about how he's really heavy with the play action game, and contrary to popular belief,
Yes, very much.
I think Penix is really good with the play action, and in college he was able to run that play action a bit well. I was actually booted from from a Facebook group as an admin because I was disagreeing with some of the members inside of their group chat, but they were saying things like, "Yeah, I don't think that Penix is our guy, and I think that he wasn't as suited for the offense as Kurt was." And to me, that's weird because it's like there's nothing that
Well,
Kurt does.
come out. So,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Hightower.
no, see, listen, I said it before. Kurt doesn't do anything spectacular.
Right.
Okay? The only thing about Kurt, he's reliable,
Right.
he's basic, and he's going to do what he's asked to do. So what happens is that your offense is more relaxed with him because they kind of have an idea it's going to be an A, B, and C offense. They're not worried about him running unless he has to in an emergency. They don't have to worry about him ad-libbing. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. Just like the play's written, he's pretty much going to follow that. With Penix in, there's going to be some ad-libbing. There's going to be some showings of athletic prowess that he's going to show. It's going to kind of you're going to get receivers and running backs going to do a little extra because they're a little bit more excited of how explosive they can be. But the average fan that says they like Kirk, that's going to be the cat that really doesn't know football and know the changes that have occurred. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having both types of quarterbacks on your team. Okay, matter of fact, I like the fact that they had Kirk there since Penix got hurt. That just made things so that it was doable after the injury. You didn't have to see a letdown. You weren't going to have those crazy games every week. You're not going to have 357 yards passing and 90 yards rushing out of the quarterback.
Right.
But you will get a spark of greatness every once in a while, but he is reliable. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. He's going to get you if their scheme says all we need is 200 yards and 20, he's going to get that for you. He's going to get that for you. He can. So, but he's not going to usher you into the new wave of football where it's more exciting and the quarterbacks are doing all this great stuff. He's not going to do that. Okay. He's not going to do that. So he's great if you want to grind and you want to just watch football. But if you want to be excited, you got to go Penix.
I agree. And how important do you think that it is that we kept Ulbrich here in place? Because if I'm not mistaken, Jim Schwartz was their defensive coordinator. He's a pretty good defensive coordinator himself. He did a lot with what they had up there in Cleveland. Of course, it isn't exactly the same as having Myles Garrett. But do you think it would have been that big of a? In my opinion, I think that it would have been a bit of a jump in the difference of philosophy if we would have went with him having that 4-3 scheme instead of a 3-4. And I think that it matters having a lot of that continuity for your younger defensive players, and especially having those position coaches. What are your thoughts about how someone like Nate Ollie has and what his impact is on the game? Because we see, if you guys see the thumbnail, every place that Nate Ollie went to, they were a top 5 sack team. So
Yeah.
how do you think that affects the team and the defense in that matter, Hightower?
Okay, well, I think that based off of what ownership chose to do, as
Mm,
they were coming to the point where they came to the conclusion that they wanted to do what they did.
mm,
I think that the one thing they knew that they shouldn't tamper with was the defense.
right.
Okay, we have that together. The potential's there. Don't mess that up. So if we're going to change schemes in any way, it shouldn't be with the defense. Let's let the defense be who they are, the way that they
Right.
are. Let's leave them one big happy family, and we can develop the rest of the team. The offensive stuff we were weak because if you were to change it up, even if you found another defensive coordinator that can bring out the best in you, well, the best is coming out right now. So there's really no reason to change it, um, change the philosophy on defense or anything because it's very effective. It's just that they have to grow together a little bit more. They need a little bit more time together. So the unity, knowing each other, working as a team, all those things came to fruition by the end of the season. Leave our defensive coordinator alone. That's the one place that we didn't have to worry about going to. That was
Right.
the one thing we never had to worry about on Sundays.
Right. Right. And see, people talk about complimentary football, like you said. Kirk, with him being in the game, it's not as sexy. But I think that also, as I said in the previous stream that we had to restart, having Stefanski out there, it doesn't seem as sexy either. But this is more of a meat and potatoes team now. So if you have a defense that's as opportunistic as this defense has been, we've been top 5 in sacks. I think we were second in sacks. We were in the top 10 in turnovers. Those two things coupled together, mixed with the coach like this, that's not gonna get too flashy. You're not gonna have a lot of turnovers with him. He's gonna run the ball. You're built to play with leads. Running the ball is built to play with leads, and I think that we're gonna have a lot more discipline with this team. This team is, I don't think, have been very heavily penalized previously. His brand of football is going to be to limit the turnovers with the quarterback, not take too many chances, but be able to make big plays down the field. Think about it like this: it's like you go out here, you get a sack, you get a 3-and-out, you get a strip sack or an interception or something because we got these two ball hawks back there with Jesse Bates and Watts, right? And Jeff Ulbrich is about not only getting the sack but also affecting how the quarterback is playing the game, rushing throws. So that, along with those sacks, is
Yeah.
going to force these guys, quarterbacks to throw a lot more turnovers. Now you get back out on the field, you're running the ball, running the ball, running the ball. Boom. Penix comes, he fakes the handoff, right? Big play downfield with the play action. And it allows those receivers to get a little bit deeper. It holds that safety a little bit more. You get these cornerbacks who become aggressive. They want to be a part of the running game too. Not all cornerbacks are soft. And some of these guys, they like the contact. You get a cornerback like A.J. Terrell, like how we have, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, but he'll peek in that backfield. Before you know it,
Yep.
guys are starting to get downfield and get over top, and it just buys them that little bit more of a split second. And that's how you
Yep.
utilize that arm. What are your thoughts on that a little
Yes.
bit, Hightower? Because, I mean, you were running back yourself.
I mean, no, I totally agree. You listen. If they do it the way it seems that they're trying to do it based off of the changes they made,
Hmm.
you're going to see a much better team this next year
Right.
than this year. It should be more polished, more disciplined, but they should work more as one than they did this year. Now, mind you, you can't discount the fact that they had to go through this whole season to work on those things also.
Right.
Okay, so we're not going to discount the fact that this season is just as important as next season is going to be because you can't get the next season without this season. You know what I'm saying? Um, this whole season they played together. They learned things from each other, weaknesses, strengths, et cetera, et cetera. So this is to their advantage.
Right.
You just don't want them to change everything and just discombobulate the entire system or what they have achieved this season that was positive just because you want change. So I like the fact that they kept the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that they hired a new offensive coordinator. I like the fact that Stefanski's the head coach. I like everything about it. I mean, it's going to be, I think, something very special for Falcon fans to watch if they just stop being scared that they're going to be a losing team again.
Right.
Okay, even as fans, let's be positive because every team that seems to suck sooner or later gets better. And if you look at the way the league is looking right now, is the disparity, the changes, the variety, et cetera, that's going on in the league. Any team can do anything any season. The Falcons are right there. If they can get this offense together, if they can get special teams to not make as many mistakes, the defense is going to feed, and feast on other teams. Now, imagine this. As they are developing their offense with a new coordinator and a new coach, remember the defense can score. So imagine if my defense is scoring points and they're doing their part, that's going to take the edge off of the offense where they may just be getting to know the new leaders, the new regime, et cetera, but that's going to be to their advantage. And as the season continues to go on, they'll get better. The defense will get cockier, they'll get stronger, they'll know each other better. The offense, they'll work more as one, and all of a sudden, you're looking at the end of the season and going, yo, man, we made the playoffs.
Right.
And we all right.
Right. And in the comments, man, I want to read a comment, and I hear a lot of people bring this up, but Diz the Monster, he says he wants to see a gap-eating nose tackle for run stuffing because we've been constantly gashed in the run game on defense. Now, in my opinion, I feel as though some of that is a little bit. For one, Jeff Ulbrich admittedly said that his focus is the pass game and stopping the pass. And I think that in this NFL, you can ill afford to not do that. You know what I mean? You cannot go out here and not stop the pass and focus on the pass first. I think that there's a little bit of a culture with this defense to stop the run on the way to the pass, but also
Yes.
so it's going to be a little bit of bend that don't break on that. But we also had some injuries out there that were huge. I mean, our defensive lineman got hurt a lot. I think that having Zach Harrison, he went down at different points in time. Brandon Dorless went down, but he also got better as a run defender as the season went on. You had Rukaroro out there. I think they might have had a couple of games where he might have been hurt as well too. Lakel London, he got hurt a couple of games. So they added a lot of depth on that defensive line. I mean, we wound up having Street come back. Contavious Street, who was really good at playing some logging minutes for us. Do you think that we need a run-stuffing defensive tackle, though? Because I think that it's good you get a tackle, but, you need to have speed out there. So unless a guy can move like that, I don't think you need
but if you have a D tackle that is just straight run-stopping, that's all. I mean, that's fine. If you can find them, if you can get them, get them. Right. It's not going to hurt. Yeah. But the way the league is right now is, since it's so pass happy, you want to make sure your team is prepared to defend the pass. But like you said, if you stop the run, you affect the pass. Okay, so if they were able to get a D tackle of such, that would be great because that would be his job.
Right.
You just going out there and have fun and make sure nobody runs the ball. We'll back you up in our way, but we're definitely going to stop the pass. So for me, it's all about whether or not that pops up into your reality at draft time.
Right.
Maybe not.
Right. And like you said, if you could find a defensive tackle like that, they don't really make those guys like that anymore. I mean, they had a lot of them. There ain't a whole lot of Vita Veas out here in the league. And was this the guy's name? The Jets traded him to Dallas, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, I'm not his name, but yeah, I didn't exactly talking about.
Yeah, I don't think he's not really a big heavy 330-pounder guy though, is he?
No, he's a big guy. I mean, he's not massive, but he's not little. He's still like 6'4", like 305. He's legit.
And that's kind of what we got with some of these guys as well too. I mean, we don't have the guys we have aren't necessarily little. Brandon Dorless is about 6'4", almost 300 pounds. David Onyemata, and that's a guy that's going to go away in free agency potentially, depending on what his price tag is. We might re-sign him. I'd love to re-sign him if we could get him for the right tag. But he's a guy.
I think they'll re-sign him. I think they'll re-sign him.
You think they'll re-sign him?
I do. I think that. Listen, right now, unless you're going to get an astronomical amount of money,
right?
If I was anybody on the Falcons on defense, I'd actually want to try to stay there because the potential of something special happening is right at your fingertips. So you might want to be a part of that.
This is true too.
I mean something special like one of the top defenses in the league. I'm talking about like dominating on defense in a way that you haven't really seen for a while, and having fun doing it. So I really wouldn't. I really want to be part of the process and not leave that for something else. Just now, but if the money's right, you put enough zeros on there, I'm out because I'm taking care of my family. But from a cultural standpoint and a player standpoint, I like to be a part of something different, something special, and something unique.
Absolutely. Also, Kaden Elliss is a guy that's up for free agency as well too.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is to re-sign him versus
no.
looking for somebody new?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Elliss, okay. Even though he hasn't been a superstar this past year, he's reliable. He knows his job and he's consistent. And you have to make sure that your team is not so special, not so packed with athletes and athleticism that guys aren't reliable. So you don't want guys that ego play football. You don't go out there and try to show you that they're faster than you and stronger than you. You want guys that are going to play straight football like chess, because that's what football is. High-powered chess, in my mind. You want guys that you know that they're going to be in the right place at the right time and do the right job. And Elliss is like that. And if you look at him, he's still one of the better players at his position in the league.
Right.
So it's not as if you're just getting a regular guy that's not really pretty damn good. He's still one of the best players at his position. And why wouldn't you want that to be? And he's not that expensive.
Agreed.
Okay, he's not killing the bank.
Right.
So for me, I'd like for them to retain him. They need someone like him to be the base leader for their defense, because as they continue to develop and mature, you have to have a guy like that.
Right. It's interesting, man. And I know every fan isn't as well versed in the X's and O's of these things, and of course the whole definition of a fan is being a fanatic. But and I'm in these different NFC South groups. I was talking to a Saints fan today. He's like, "Oh yeah, you guys don't have any Pro Bowlers on your team on the defense." But it's like, if I'm a defensive coach,
but they have the best. They have the best rookies.
I'm trying to tell you.
They have the best defensive rookies almost probably ever on the same team.
Absolutely.
When's the last time you had two guys?
Yes.
On the same team.
Yep.
That accomplished what they accomplished. Now, they snubbed them on the Pro Bowl. They snubbed them in many ways, but they're still some of the best players you've ever seen on the same team. So
absolutely.
Whatever they talking about, whatever.
Absolutely, man. Because I mean, and for anybody who's kind of guessing where he's talking about, specifically Xavier Watts and James Pierce Jr. Led all rookies in interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. Xavier Watts did. James Pierce Jr. led all
in sacks.
In sacks. Yep. And then you got Jalen Walker, who looked like he was going to lead the team in sacks at first. He gave you another 5.5. And these guys, they didn't start off as starters at the beginning of the year. But
exactly,
very versatile.
Now imagine this. This isn't a situation where they're just saying they were leading their team in these stats, in these areas.
Yeah.
They were leading the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's not as if this is just some fly by night, oh, you just achieved something to the team. No, man, these guys were doing major work, major things on a major platform. So No, man, please. Man, I'm telling you, you might have a defense that you've never seen before in development.
Absolutely. Trent says that James Pierce Jr. is the best player on this defense today. I don't know if I would say that, but I definitely think he's the most dynamic. He's the most elite at what he
For
does.
now, no. If all right, if he just stays the course,
Agreed.
if he during the off season studies
Hmm.
and really just takes pointers and tips from other guys that have already done it and add it to his repertoire, what you're going to actually see is a dude that can come in next year and wreak havoc easily,
Absolutely.
and have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And it can end up being like the face of the NFL. He has that potential.
No, I agree. And again, I don't totally disagree with you on that because one thing I do like about James Pierce Jr. is even though he's an elite pass rusher, he's not a liability against the run.
Now,
He does need to improve there, but that's why I think that Jalen Walker is even more of an X factor for us because he allows you to do a lot more versatility, and
yeah.
with what he offers to be able to move in space as not only a run stuffer, also as a bookend guy who's really good against the pass rush. He
Oh,
can
he's
board
sound.
with
He's totally sound.
totally sound
He's
all the way
totally
around.
sound.
Right. It makes it where you can't just say, oh well, we're gonna run at James Pierce Jr. and it's
Yeah.
not.
You know, matter of fact, don't even go that way. Don't
And
even
if
go
you
his
go at
way.
Jalen Walker's side, I mean James Pierce Jr. He can still drop back and pass coverage a little bit too, enough that he's not a total liability. So it mixes it up where you got these guys coming at you
And those
so.
corners are waiting.
Yeah. Right.
And the corners are waiting
And the
for you to
corners
try
are
to throw
winning.
it over.
Right. And that's why I want to add another cornerback out there because when you got guys,
You might as well.
yeah,
You might as well. I mean, just saying, like, listen, I'm telling you, man, you about to redo your whole room with new Falcon stuff next year. You gonna
right,
have their pictures up on the wall because
right,
they're
man.
gonna do some work.
Man, I'm telling you, man, they really are putting it in. And it's just really hard to game plan against all that speed, but all that cerebralness. Having linebackers out there like Kaden Elliss and Divine Diablo, two guys who are really smart, but they can both rush the passer.
Oh,
And
check this out. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how much I agree. Hold on. Okay, so let's just do this right. Let's just do it right. Okay, I'll do a hat change for you. Okay, I'm down with them. I'm down. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go Falcons. Stop playing. I want to see that defense run all over the damn place. I want to see some great stuff. They have the potential. Falcons, baby.
yeah, I had to get that hat in the frame just so I can show people, let people see it's not a game. You see the hat, you know what time it is, man. Absolutely, man. I think that when you have like you
That's
said, it
it.
ain't all about Pro Bowls and all of that. Sometimes just doing your job, doing exactly what you need. You look at the throwback teams like New England of the past with a guy like Teddy Bruschi out there. You know what I mean? Just having guys who will go and do exactly what the job is. Seymour, who was on that team, Richard Seymour. Uh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? NFL great. You know what I mean? Wasn't always a sack
I'm saying
guy.
he was a great player.
Played up and down the line though. You know what I mean?
No, but he was sound.
Very sound. Willie McGinnis. Like, again, a guy who had
Yeah.
stats, but it wasn't always year in and year out.
But you see it. But in the end, when you can't pick your hand up because you got all them rings on your fingers,
Right.
does it really matter?
Doesn't.
I'm just saying, if you look at that situation, example of what you just used,
right.
um, I would rather not be able to pick my hand up than for you to say I'm the best.
Right.
Because the key to being on a team is team wins and team accomplishments, not individual. If you can achieve individual accomplishments, that's great.
Right.
But it's the team, the total team productivity, oneness, and achievements that make it all worth the career. Because everybody's getting paid. So let's win as we get paid, as opposed to lose as we get paid.
Right. Right. And the awareness of these players is going to just only increase this year. People, again, to the points you were saying, I only see James Pierce Jr. getting better. I only see him being able to understand this system a lot more. Even though Raheem's gone, he said we're gonna be moving Jalen Walker all over the field, but we want to get him into a position that allows him to master what he does. You have Jalen Walker being able to, on some of these plays, drop back in the pass coverage, even though he's lining up in a defensive end position, or even in the middle of the defense. You can move him in coverage through that hook curl zone. Let him maybe spy somebody a little bit more. Let him bait quarterbacks a little bit more. There's no reason why he can't do some of the things that Lawrence Taylor did in pass coverage, or even a Derrick Brooks. Go ahead.
If that happens, all you're doing is opening the door to the linebackers.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, so you have linebackers on the Falcons, and we're not going to say any names, that at times you go, come on, dude, what are you doing? They made a few mistakes this year.
Right.
Dude, make the hit. What are you doing? Why you scared?
Right.
Let me tell you, if he does his job on the end,
Right.
those linebackers are going to be so happy because they're going to get gimmies.
Right.
The ball's going to be coming their way all the time because you're not going to go on the outsides. You're not going to be in the flats. You're going to try to stick in the middle, and they're going to make tackles just because they're there.
Right.
And then if they get better, well, that forces them outside. So it's win-win, but everybody has to do their part. Everybody has to be reliable. Once again, like you said earlier, it's not about how fast you are and you jump all over the place. You have to develop the team.
No, I agree. And to your point about the linebackers, because we did have some injuries once Divine Diablo went down. And I'll say the names. J.D. Bertrand, I mean, once Divine Diablo went down, he was a little bit of a liability. I'd rather have another linebacker in the weight. And people talk about having a nickel cornerback, having a plethora of those guys, or having a third safety, or even when they talk about a swing tackle that can play both sides.
Yeah.
I think in this defense, when you have a 3-4 defense, you need other middle linebackers that can play that position. And I think that Jalen Walker might be able to potentially do that if it came to it this year. So I think that him having another year in his belt, it allows him to master more positions. His head isn't going to be spinning as much. But I'd like to see the Falcons, because I like to keep him where he's at, and I'd like to see the Falcons maybe see if we can draft us a third or fourth round linebacker that we could potentially develop or something as well.
I tell you, right now, because of the way the defense is coming together for the Falcons, they have a luxury in which they can actually pick up an average linebacker and develop them.
I agree.
You don't have to be a superstar. You just get a guy that you know can play football.
Yep.
That loves to play football and that wants to play football. You can get him on that team, and with the defense they already have, that guy can develop into something great.
Agreed.
But the thing is that, once again, that's still that player that's playing and doing what he's supposed to do, that's reliable first. Okay?
Agreed.
If you go back in the past, it's funny. Let's go back to high school.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of high school. So you would play a team, you might have a better team athletically, and then here comes this team where they don't do anything great, but they stick to their guns.
Yep.
And you are in the fight of your life during that game because they don't care about how fast you are.
Yep.
They don't care about how many passes you throw and catch. They're doing their job and they're stopping you. And in many cases, you're the one that's trying to figure out what's wrong. Well, what's wrong is fundamentally you're not sound. So if we can get a team that's fundamentally sound first, and then their athleticism shines through their ability of being disciplined, now you have a dangerous squad. But I'm not afraid of a super uber athletic team that isn't reliable and sound. I don't care about them. We can beat them. Might not look good, but we can beat them.
Right on. In the chat, okay, so I see Trenton saying you think Walker is going to go beside Diablo, and Jay Black, you're saying, have I heard that they're gonna let Elliss walk and move Walker in his place? I have not heard that. And how would I feel about that with him roving around? I think he can still do the roving around from that that edge. And you saying how
Yeah.
do I feel about him not playing D end? I don't look at him as a D end. He is a edge linebacker. He
Come on.
drops in the coverage.
Listen, he's a defender.
He's a defender. Yeah.
He's
I think football's
across the
become
board.
largely positionless. I'd rather have an edge defender that can drop in the pass coverage and keep a guy like that, or like you said, Hightower, I'd like to find another guy that I can develop. I don't think that it
Yeah.
would make sense to not bring back Kaden Elliss and Jay Black. Let me know where you're seeing that at. If you guys are seeing that out there, let me know drop a link for me, and I'll do something on that. I'll do something about that. I'll do a piece talking about Kaden Elliss and if he walks. But I personally think that I could see Ulbrich bringing another guy, and that's why I'm kind of ready to give up on J.D. Bertrand because we've seen Jeff Ulbrich develop linebackers before. He did it with Jamie Sherwood, Foye Oluokun. He was really big and integral in making. He earned Foye Oluokun a lot of money to go over to Jacksonville because he hadn't been what he was in Atlanta. He's not been bad in
Yeah.
Jacksonville totally, but he's not been
Yeah.
what he was in Atlanta. And I
No,
think that
but
Ulbrich was he likes these linebackers that are converted safeties. You look at our guy Diablo. He was a strong safety in college. I think Foye was a strong safety. Jamie Sherwood, he was. And he was a guy that came in when C.J. Mosley went down. So I think that Ulbrich, they just as well take a guy and convert him. It's easier to get a safety to play downfield than it is to get a linebacker to learn how to play in pass coverage.
Well, see, what's funny is now when I realized this, I laughed. Do you know that in many cases, your safety your free safeties, and many of your corners were put in that position in many cases because they may have had speed,
right?
And they can run with people. But you don't get it. But many of those guys, if they wanted to play defense, they wanted to hit. They want to make contact.
Yep.
They want to be in the danger zone. But they were fast enough that they kind of got opted out to play corner. And I'm not knocking corner because that's probably the hardest position other than the quarterback to play. Right. But most safeties and corners are so hungry for showing that they can make contact and showing that they hit and trying to instill fear in the other team and they never get that. Especially with the new rules. A couple of hits you might make nowadays are not like the hits you would have made or the way you would have played 10, 15 years ago. So you can end up playing a game and never really feeling like you did much. And I ran with the guy a couple of times, swatted a couple passes down. I might have got an interception, but it wasn't that eventful. You're not the guy with your helmet all scraped up, okay? But that linebacker, you in your mind you're going, if they would just let me play linebacker just for about 15 plays, I could at least make 5 tackles. That's what you're thinking. So when they take a safety and they convert him, remember, he wanted to hit. He wanted that. And with his extra speed, now that linebacker position is real dangerous. Real dangerous because he can run with you, but he's hungry to hit. So it just makes it so that entertainment is entertainment. Sports entertainment, hey, make that hit, interception, fumble recovery, whatever it take. That's why many safeties like to convert into linebackers.
Agree. And I'm reading in the chat, to your point, Trent, you said call Bowman a nickel, but I firmly believe Jeff sees him as our third linebacker. If you go back to the preseason, and this is a guy that I hope they bring back as well too, Mike Rutenberg. He's our secondary coach. He was talking about Billy Bowman and how he's like a little baby backer. And we missed him dearly when he went down. Unfortunately, he had that Achilles injury, and so I don't think that defense is going to be the same. But Hightower, I mean, you're our resident sports specialist. You know about injuries and personal training. Explain to these people and give us your thoughts on how long it's going to take, one, for him to return from that Achilles injury, Billy Bowman, and not only play, but to play at an effective level because there's no.
Okay, so the key point that you're making is effective level, playing at an effective level. He can be back next season. He could be. I wouldn't bring him back early. I'd wait as long as possible because I want to make sure that it heals properly. I want to make sure that the investment that I've made is worth it. So I'm not going to be in a hurry to get him back. But with technology nowadays, I mean, guys are getting their Achilles reattached,
Right.
bruh, the next day after an injury.
Right.
And they're walking the next day. And it's just a precaution. It's a mental thing first. Do you feel confident within the scheme of the physical therapist and what he's trying to do for you versus am I still fast? Can I still run? Can I still jump? Am I confident in what I'm doing? Because the therapist will say you're good, but you have to make your mind as you believe it in your mind. So with an Achilles, because it is so well in the past, it's been so major. Matter of fact, in the past, if you tore your Achilles, that was it. You're done. I don't care who you are. Oh well, you'll never be what you're going to be, what you were. It's not going to happen again. Nowadays, that's not the case. Nowadays, man, you can be a beast, but you have to get the mental side of it to feel, to reinforce, and to support the other side of your game, which is being able to be effective. So, no hurry. I think that he'll be back next season. I just don't know when.
Right. But
And it should ease him in. So he might come in when he's ready to play. They might say, we're going to give you 10 plays and see how you do.
right.
See how you feel after the game. See how sore you are. See, take X-rays and MRI to see any trauma that's happened. Then you might say, okay, next game we'll give you 15 plays.
Right.
They give him 15 plays for a couple of games. And then 3 games down the line, we might say, we're going to give you a half. But under no circumstance would I throw him into the fire just because technology is greater, because I want to make sure that mentally he's stable.
And based on what you've seen and your expertise with training people and rehab, uh, would you say it's going to be at least a year in rehab for him to get out there first?
I mean, for him to actually be on the field playing like he was, yes, yeah. At his position, yes, definitely.
Right, right. And what are
Definitely.
your thoughts on the Penix injury? Do you think that we'll see him?
Now,
That
well, for Penix, this is the thing. I think that with the new offensive coordinator coach, that they can actually design an offense that allows him on the field without them worrying about him uh, being put in a situation where the probability of him hurting himself again is that high, other than just regular injuries. But I don't think that they're going to be in a hurry. But right now they have a chance to really wrap the whole offense around them with a plan, a scheme, and I think that he'll be back by week 5, 6.
so you don't think we'll get him at the very beginning of the season, just a little bit past. Uh,
I would. I don't know. I mean, they could, but I'm just saying. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if I would want to chance the first couple of weeks, but it's going to be based on how he looks and how he's doing with rehab and how he's looking in practice. So, like I said, when I said week 5 or 6, I'm thinking worst case scenario, he should definitely be back by then.
right, right. And one thing that people talk about is the Penix being able to play under center. They talk about
Yeah, no
they.
problem.
I think it's a very. I do think it's a hard thing for quarterbacks a little bit to get adjusted to, because I heard of Alex Smith saying before how it took him almost a year and a half to be able to understand how to do play action from under center. And I think that's the biggest thing, is turning your back to the
Well,
quarterback.
see, yeah, but see, that's still going to be based off of what you've been doing.
Right?
Like, we don't know what offense he played in high school. The offense he went to Utah, right?
I think so.
Alex, did he go to Utah?
I'm not, no. I know he's from Florida, and then I think he went at first. He went to Indiana, and then he went to Washington. And in
So
college, he
if
did he did play from under center sometimes, but in single back, there is footage
yeah,
of him
what I'm saying is that
play action.
yeah, but the thing is with him is that he just got comfortable not being under center because that's what the schemes were.
Right.
So then when you go from not doing it to now we're going to do it all the time or very frequently, of
Hmm.
course it's going to be a little weird to you because you don't feel as comfortable.
Right.
And if you're playing like a single back,
Right.
You're playing deep. You're not whatever shotgun. You have more. You see more. You have more time. Play action. You have to trust everything that you're doing because you're trying to throw off the defense. So when you turn your back to the line to do a fake or whatever it may be, to roll right or left or to just go back, what happens is you might not feel comfortable because for that split second, what's going on? Where are they at? And that's the problem. Now with Alex Smith, remember, people didn't know he could run. So his best quality was, if they do come in on play action, I can run. Penix can run. Even if he comes back after injury, he's still going to be a little bit more nimble than a lot of average guys are. So he's going to be fine. But I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think he doesn't get nearly enough credit for his athletic ability. I think people think of these running quarterbacks like being able to run downfield and juke them out and all that type of stuff. I think Stefanski is the type of coach that's gonna push Penix, right, to go out. Hey man, just pick up 5 yards. Just keep the ball moving. Hey, take what the defense gives you there. I think he's gonna run a lot more underneath, a lot more dink and dunk stuff. There's gonna be a lot more.
Zone does.
Yep.
That's exactly what the wide zone presents. Okay, it gives you the opportunity as a quarterback to really play around with the defense's heads. You can do almost anything out of that. Okay, so you have the bootleg, you have play action, you have a lot of traps. They run a lot of traps off of that, a lot of delays with the running back. So now, mind you, we haven't talked about Bijan.
Oh, now, man.
If you want to just change the whole complexity of our conversation right now, let's add him into it. Yep. Does it really matter if Penix is a great runner? Yep. When you have a great runner?
Right. I don't want to run a whole lot anyway.
No, but what you want to do, you want to make the defense so nervous that they don't know what's going on. But, dude, even when they knew Bijan was going to get it, that brother was killing him. So does it make a difference?
Right.
I need to keep you on the field. I want to make sure everybody's working together as a unit, and the rest is going to be history.
Right. Agree. And to that point, I think that Bijan is absolutely going to feast in this offense under Stefanski. Yeah, because you look at Nick Chubb, who was a really great running back in his own right. If he didn't get injured, I think we'd be talking about a future Hall of Famer if he didn't keep getting injured.
He's actually he's always been one of my favorite backs.
Yeah,
because of his effectiveness. Because if you think about it, he could do everything you wanted a running back to do, but he took care of business first. So if you needed 4 yards, he'd get 4 yards.
Get you those 4 yards.
Yeah, and then he show his ass.
Yep.
And do something crazy.
Yep.
And you'd be like, no, did he just shake that dude? The dude's shoes are still over there. He could do that. He could catch. He could block. Who does that sound like? Bijan.
Bijan's a devastating blocker.
Faster.
Yeah.
He's more nimble.
Just faster, yep.
You know what I'm saying? And side to side.
More of a passing game.
Stop and go.
Yep.
I'm just saying. The angles that he uses naturally, when he's presented with multiple defenders in front of him, his choices, his decision making, his reaction is superior. So, do you have a potential offensive player of the year sitting back there with other guys that are potential best players in their position? You got the tight end, potentially the best tight end. You have receiver, potentially best receiver. You look at the potential. Even with Penix, if he just listen, remember they're winning with Kirk Cousins. If they can win with Kirk Cousins, imagine if Penix just does his part. So if you got excited about a couple of wins at the end of this season, then you should be doing backflips like a gymnast in the Olympics.
Right.
Over the potential of what could be there for next year.
Right, I agree, and I think that we could have made the playoffs this year with Penix playing the way he did as well. It's bad as some people think that he is. I think Alex Smith is a perfect comparable to the floor of where you could have Penix at. I think Alex Smith is a great comparable for his floor, and I think his ceiling is up there somewhere around a Warren Moon or Matthew Stafford.
Listen, potentially. I'm just saying,
Just saying, that's
You
a
never know
range.
what you have.
You know what
You
you
never know what
have.
you have.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
thing is that I want to see it. I want to be a witness. I want to be somebody that's privy to witnessing the development of all those potential superstars,
Yep.
all on the same team.
Another thing I love about Stefanski as well is that I believe. I mean, he likes to throw to his tight ends. He will get that tight end
Oh
involved.
yeah,
Allegedly, David Njoku, who's with Cleveland, said he really
yeah.
liked playing for him a lot. And he's a guy that I think is going to be a free agent as well too. So that could be a guy that
Yeah,
we
he is.
potentially add. Yeah, I can see them letting go of one of our tight ends potentially, not Warner, but
Yeah.
maybe Frank
I
for
don't know
that.
if they might not be able to afford Njoku because
Do
he's
you,
looking for
do you
top
think he's
dollar.
going to command a lot? Because I mean, he had a crazy contract, but that contract is up now.
Well, what happens is,
31 years
and this
old.
is just me.
Okay.
This is just me. I don't think that he's even reached his potential. I think that this
Mm.
dude, I think Njoku is so gifted that he doesn't even know what he can do. He's like a
Mm.
man among boys, but he doesn't show it every week. So he's not commanding the money that he could command, but potentially he's not going to go cheap because teams can see what he might be able to do for them. But I don't think that Atlanta will want to waste that money on him
I,
with what they already have.
I think anybody for the right price, but I do kind of agree with you. But I also kind of feel like, man, if that was the case, I mean, what they wouldn't have drafted Fannin like that as well, too. I mean, you could see a resurgence of his career towards the
No,
end.
he's not done. He's not done.
Yeah,
I think he's going to do great things, but he has to want to do it. I think he's so gifted that he's kind of lazy at times. He just used to be the best.
I can see that.
So I'm just saying.
I can see that. I can see that.
Now, I'm not
Um,
knocking him, but
yeah,
sometimes he gets a little lazy.
I can see that. Yeah, I think you have that problem with a lot of NFL players, honestly, on this level. Uh,
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what kind of things we do add in free agency. I saw somebody over here said Terry 310 says the Falcons might get Nick Chubbs on the low if Tyler leaves. I definitely think that Tyler's probably going to leave. I know you said you think that Tyler's going to stay, or you want to see him stay at least. I mean, of course, we all want to see him stay.
I want to see Allgeier stay, and the main reason behind that is even though your dream is to be the guy, don't let anybody fool you. There is no NFL player in the league that did not dream, play over in their mind, um, being the number one at their position because that's what you believe they're going to be. So I don't know what team he would go to where he would still be the number one.
Mm.
Okay, I think that he's always going to be a part of a 1-2 punch, and I don't think that he has enough. He's not commanding enough to be the number one. He is commanding enough to be one of a 1-2 punch.
I
But
agree.
a
I
whole
think a lot of
season at number one, I don't know.
I do kind of I am kind of curious about that too. That people are like, yeah, he's been 1,000 yard running back. I don't think 1,000 yards exactly is what it was once upon a time, especially in a 17 game
Oh, it
season.
still is. It still is. It still is. Listen, you
Yeah,
still run 1,000 yards, but with him, when he runs it for 1,000 yards, how commanding was it? Were you afraid of him when he had the ball? Did he dominate when he had the ball? Because you can grind out 1,000 yards.
that's kind of my point to an extent with it. Um, now one guy they said that now one guy I might think as opposed to Nick Chubb is someone like maybe Dearness Johnson. I think he went to the Texans or something if I'm
I
not
mean, that's
mistaken.
fine.
But
Yeah, I mean,
he
that's
was
fine. But
let
see,
go.
you're what you're doing is if you were to get him, all you're doing is taking a player to be the number two that doesn't mind being a number two.
Absolutely.
Because when he gets the ball, he's going to show his ass. So with Allgeier, he has to make his mind up. Do I want to be a part of this team and see what happens, or do I want to leave, potentially get a chance to start somewhere else? And if I don't do what I think I can do, I'm going to be number three.
That's true. There's also
Okay.
Nathan Carter, a guy that we picked up last year. Um, he didn't get a whole lot of chance to play with Tyler Allgeier being out there, and for him to be such a scat back, he's a guy that still he runs real strong. He's not afraid to run between the tackles. He gets lost in there. He's not that small of a guy. He's 5'9", 200 pounds. So it ain't like he's
Yeah, but a lot of that's the league now. That's the league.
He's about average for a running back. So yeah,
That is the league. If you look at almost any team right now in the NFL, that's the guy. That's going to be your number 2 back. That same profile that you just used. That's him.
Yep.
Agile, quick, got a little power essence. Does his job.
4'3", 40 guy. I mean, I could also see him playing a lot on special teams as well too. So there's a chance that they might try to bring in another plotter. But that's one thing I like about Stefanski is he's going to utilize those running backs. He likes having a pass catching running back. He likes having between the tackles.
He wants you fresh too.
Say that again?
He wants you fresh.
Yep.
He wants you fresh.
Yep. I think that this team is definitely going to be more of a team that can run the ball, somewhere around 30 times a game.
Yeah.
I expect to see a lot more single back under center. I think that Ulbrich is gonna,
Now I don't know about single. I don't know with the scheme that they're looking at with Stefanski. I really believe that Allgeier would actually get more carries with Stefanski as a quarterback. I mean, as the coach,
right,
than he would in many other teams. I really believe that he'd be a definitive part of the offense to where the scheme, he's worked into the scheme as opposed to waiting for somebody to get hurt or somebody's tired that they put him in. I think that they would definitively put him in a situation to where he is part of the plan.
For sure. Trent said, "Put the Cash App back up." So the Cash App, man, is just Point Game Official on Cash App. I'll get that up, but it's straightforward. Point Game Official, all one word, on Cash App. Anybody who wants to bless a brother out there, for sure.
Hey, I like that.
And to your point, man, I agree with you. I think that he might get a lot more carries in this offense with Stefanski out there. I think Stefanski might be able to coerce him to stay, potentially, if that's the case.
I mean, like I said, with the change, listen, where's he going to go? If you look at the league right now,
right,
and you look at the running backs that are in the league,
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them that can play. There's a lot of them you don't even know who the hell they are, and they can play. A lot of them fit that same bill. Do you really think that, and I'm not being mean, you get a seasoned guy like Allgeier, he's not old, but I'm just saying he's seasoned, and you put him on that team, do you really think that based off of what's already on the teams, what they've already picked and the guys they already have in place, that he's just going to come into any team in the league and just become the dominant running back to where he's getting 30 carries? No, I don't think so. I think that, once again, his personality, his playability is still one that would complement a 1-2 punch. If you want to see how effective he can be, and in order for him to get a decent amount of carries. Because other than that, he's not going to get 30 carries a game. Not in the NFL right now. Not the average team.
I agree on that. Kirk did say that he thinks Tyler Allgeier would be a starting running back on any team he's been on before. I think that was a little bit of a higher praise than I think he was a little bit higher.
Said he won't start. I don't think that he'd stay the starter the whole year.
I can see that.
I think that he could start up the starter and then he become 1-2 punch. But I'm not knocking him. I'm not doubting him. I think I really like him. But unless the money's so great that he can't say no, all you're doing is passing up what you're doing now to go somewhere to do what you're doing now again. So I just don't see him he's not going to be a Bijan for any team.
I agree.
How about that? That? So whoever sent that message, ask that person, is he going to be like Bijan? And if the person can't say yes, shut up.
Well, the funny thing is, a person I've heard a lot of people say that they're thinking is like, oh, Michael Turner. I don't see him having the type of speed that Michael Turner had. I don't think see him being able to play like that. Michael Turner, they call him the
Okay,
burner for a
okay.
reason.
Even still, okay, Michael Turner. Give me some information. Uh, what has Michael Turner done that made him so great that he's a household name?
That's true.
So what I'm saying is he can be like a Michael Turner, but Michael Turner, he still wasn't the number one per se. His career changed. In order for him to play more, he had to adapt to changes in the offense.
I
And when
agree.
he didn't want to do so, I'm a great athlete, great football player, but he still wasn't Bijan. So come on, man. The ideas of you're looking at Turner being more like Allgeier and Allgeier being more like Turner. So
Right.
to use that as an example, you're still talking about the same thing we're talking about.
Nah, I agree. I agree. And Solomon Smith says Stefanski is a coach that can give us 3 more wins. Think about the games that we lost. Totally agree. I think that Stefanski is the
More
type
than
of
three. More than three.
more than 3.
You can get 5 games out of this.
Yep.
If you look at what you guys did, the margin of loss, point wise, that they averaged every game that they lost, they were always in the game.
Yep.
They were always within a touchdown in most cases, or 2 touchdowns, 10 points of winning a game.
Agreed.
So with Stefanski, there's 5 games that they could have won. An extra 5 games. You add that 5 wins to what they already did, and now we have a coach of the year. It's like I said earlier, the potential's there.
100% agree. The potential is definitely there for him to be able to get coach of the year again. And I think that Stefanski is the type of guy that will pull the trigger. I think he's the guy about discipline. He's an old school throwback coach. If you got a special teams ain't working right, your kicker ain't doing it, I think he'll go out and he'll bench that guy. I think that he's going to run the ball in key situations. I don't think that he's going to try to get too simple. I'm not sure how I feel about the offensive coordinator, Reese. This is who he's bringing with him. I think some
Yeah, I
Alabama.
know.
He was the coach of Alabama as well too. What's your thoughts on Reese?
No, I think that's gonna be fine. I think that the grinded out, hard working. I'm a bull. I'm a mule. I'm a bison. I'm that hard nosed guy, that player that can
Right.
dig in the trenches. He sets that as the precedent that he has for the offense. But he wants it to be athletic also. So that's what he's used to. That's what he's looking for.
Agreed. Eric Mack says Allgeier is more physical than Turner. I agree.
Yeah,
Uh, I hate to
he
say
has
this
to be,
because
but he has to be.
I might run
If,
into
if,
him one day, but I feel like as Michael Turner got a little later in his career, he was a little bit tiptoeer. I started
now,
calling him
now,
tiptoe Turner.
now, if you want to be technical, the only reason when a person can say that is because the rules were different with Turner.
Mm.
A physical guy now is not the same as a physical guy 15 years ago. Just saying.
I think that's fair. I do think it's fair to question how much would they be able to play with that same type of physical style the way he does now. Like, would he be able to take the pounding that they took years
I
ago?
think you can take it. I think you can take it, but the thing is I don't know if he's that person. I'm not saying that he's not a grinder. I'm
Right.
not saying that he's not hard, but it takes a certain mentality to. All right, I'll give you an example. Let's take somebody like a Jerome Bettis.
Okay.
Now that's a grinder.
Right.
Okay, no matter what happens, wind, snow, mud, whatever season, you give that brother 40 carries he's not going to complain. He's going to run 40 times. I think that your boy, how you be like, that was nice. You gave me 40 carries last week. But can we change that to 27 this week? Because it's a
Right.
little crazy out there.
I think that's
But
fair.
you know what I'm saying?
I think that's a fair point.
So, and I'm not knocking them. Once again, please, everybody, I'm not doubting anybody's ability or their heart or their effectiveness. I'm just saying things are somewhat different. So your idea of a grinder is not my idea of a grinder.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair, and that's very true. it's a little bit of a different game at this point in time. But all in all, I really like him. I think that Stefanski is definitely a guy that can develop quarterbacks. I think that Michael Penix is more talented than any quarterback he's had before. Somebody said in the comments they hate seeing Baker break the pocket and be able to run for things. We have the defense that can stop him, and we have a quarterback who I think is even more athletically gifted than him. I think this Falcons team is probably the most talented roster in this division. I don't think it's even close. I think that the Saints are at the bottom of the division. I think they're at the bottom of the barrel right now. I love seeing that. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on a decline, and I just think that I think that the Panthers are just not as good as advertised. Ultimately, they're a good running team. They've got some pretty good cornerbacks and the secondary.
The Panthers have they still have a lot of work to do.
Exactly. I definitely think they have a lot of work to do. I think that,
but not even looking at any of the other teams in their conference.
Right.
If I just place my money on the Falcons in regards to the potential that they have, it doesn't make a difference who's in their conference.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference how good or bad other teams are. They have the potential to actually win their conference just because they're better.
On the talent alone, I agree. You have Stefanski, a guy that took Cleveland to its first playoff victory in what 20 years. He's given them their best stint of wins in the last 20 years since they've been back from Cleveland. Come back into the league. From not existing anymore. So I'll say this before we close out, because we're getting real close to time, and I'll let you give your closing remarks on anything as well too. I think that ultimately there's a lot of fake outrage and selective outrage from a lot of our fans. I think there's a lot of emotional knee-jerk response from a lot of fans. They don't know why they don't like Stefanski, other than the fact of Shedeur. Like you said, they wouldn't have been even watching if Shedeur's last name wasn't Sanders. If he was just Shedeur Smith, Sean Smith, we wouldn't be hearing the same thing. He would just be Jacoby Brissett, in my humble opinion. A guy that's drafted even higher.
So I want to give you an example of what you're saying and how people are tripping, especially black folk.
Y'all tripping.
I watched some of my friends' wives that never watch football root for Colorado solely because Deion was a coach. Not because they like football, not because they really wanted Colorado to win, and not even because they like the jerseys.
Don't even know
because Deion was there, and there's a lot of controversy around him. Yep. And he was getting a lot of attention, to the point where everybody was paying attention on a daily basis at home. They were like, "Oh my goodness, Colorado's on. Make sure you turn to the game." And my boy's like, "She ain't even gonna watch the game. She don't even care about that." But it brought people to their sofa to watch the game. Now, with the Sun, it was an extension of that whole lure, the allure that they bring. And I'm not knocking Shedeur, but I think it was just a perfect situation in regards to receiving any type of advertising deals, perfect for attention, perfect for exposure, and they were dominating the airways with their popularity in college. So now here he comes to Cleveland, and you have some of those same people. They might not even know he plays for them, but once they see him, oh my goodness, Shedeur. I'm not even worried about any of that. I'm not worried about the whole hype behind that. I'm not knocking it, but for whatever reason they did whatever they did it. And Stefanski, I believe that when he gets, he's there in Atlanta when the season starts, all season, he's going to talk to everybody and get all of them on the right page. He's going to explain what really happened. They're going to be at peace with it, and they're going to go out and ball. That's what I think.
Agree, man.
Period.
Agree, man. Man, we're going to get up out of here, man. We appreciate you guys tuning in for the stream. You made it this far, man. You like the knowledge we dropping, man. Hey, give us a like and subscribe. Hit that Hit that hype button for us over
I
there.
ain't made that cash app either. I ain't made that cash app.
Hey, I think I got faith in the homie Trent, man. Anybody else want to drop a little something on the cash app? It's always appreciated. And hit that notification bell as well too, man. We're gonna keep you guys up to date with everything as we continue moving forward. The news is coming out just rapidly, so I'll get you guys the information as rapidly as possible. The only thing else that we're really looking for is our special teams coordinator. We pretty much have the defense filled out. Typically, they let the coordinators select their offensive their offense and defensive position coaches, if you will. So it's gonna be interesting. We also have in another month and a half, I believe, also free agency and legal tampering coming up as well too. So it's gonna be a good one, man. And then the combine's coming up as well too. So we're gonna tap out, man. It's a good show, fellas. We appreciate you guys. Stay tuned, man. Stay with us, man, and we gonna keep you guys rocking on everything as it happens and drops. Simo to C Mitchell for Point Game Official, and the homie Steve Hightower. Peace. Oh, and before I forget, we got a little bit. We got some Tower-isms coming for you. We got some top 10 running backs.
Check them out.
Top 10 in the league, and a few more treats from Steve Hightower that I'm gonna be cutting up as well too. Once we get the computer situation back on deck the way that we want to, man. So stay tuned for that as well too, baby.
You got it. Love y'all.
All right, man.